Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Supreme King Zark deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Zach. And this deck is an extremely powerful deck that just got some insane support out of Age of Overlord, completely changing this deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name screwed for a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely give Zach some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the new Supreme King Gate Magician. This card is an amazing 3-of that is now the most powerful card in the entire deck. With a really cool pendulum ability that Supreme King Zark that you control cannot be banished by your opponent's card effects. And during your main phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, place 1 Supreme King Gate pendulum monster from your hand or deck in your pendulum zone, except another copy of this card, which is a crazy powerful effect for this card to have. It also has a really cool monster effect that if you have a Supreme King Gate card in your pendulum zone, except a copy of this card, then you can send a Pendulum Dragon, XZ Dragon, Synchro Dragon, or Fusion Dragon monster from your hand or extract to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 card that mentions Supreme King Zark from your deck to your hand, except a copy of a Spellcaster monster, which is not that big of a deal because we have plenty of other cards that we want to search off this card's ability. We then play 3 copies of Dark Worm. Dark Worm is a definite 3-of in the deck. It has a really cool ability that if it's in your graveyard and you control no monster, then you can special summon this card, and if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, which is a crazy powerful effect. We then play 2 copies of Lightworm. Lightworm is an amazing combo piece in the deck that does so much for this build and is just such an insane support piece for Zark. And it's a really cool pendulum effect that if a monster is special summoned and you control Supreme King Zark and another pendulum monster except during the damage step, you can special summon this card, then you can make the level and attribute of either this card or 1 pendulum monster you control become the same level and attribute as the other, which is a really cool effect to be able to use with your copy of Dark Worm to make this card a dark so that you can step into a copy of Supreme King Clearwing, which is such a cool ability about this card because it's actually a tuner. It also has a really cool monster effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 face-up Supreme King Dragon or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Then, immediately this effect resolves, you Synchro or XZ summon 1 Supreme King Dragon monster, which is a really cool ability. And if a face-up Pendulum monster you control is destroyed by a battle or by card effect, while this card is face-up in your extra deck, you can add this card to your hand, which is an amazing ability. We then play 2 copies of Gate Zero. Gate Zero is a great 2-of in the build. I play 2 in my build because I really like to be able to search out this card. So if you do draw into a copy of this card, it's very easy to have a second copy to be able to use for a lot of different effects. And I really like playing this card in the build because it is a scale 0. We then play 3 copies of Skullcrabat Joker. This card is a great normal summon in the build because this card has the ability when it's normal summon, you can add a Perform Power monster, Magician Pendulum monster, or an Odd Eyes card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to search any of those monsters, which is such a good effect. We then play 3 copies of Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon is a definite 3-of in the build because you can pay 500 life points and send this card from your hand to the graveyard to add 1 level 8 or lower Dragon Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, essentially searching out your copy of Dark Worm or Lightworm, whichever one you need, which is such a cool ability about this card. We then play a single copy of Astrograph Sorcerer. Astrograph Sorcerer is just such an amazing card overall in any Pendulum deck, and it's a definite 1-of in this build. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Arc Pendulum Dragon is really good because you need a Pendulum Dragon to summon out your copy of Zark, so we play this one because it's the best option to be able to use. Its effects don't come up that often, which is why we just play this card as a 1-of in the deck, but you're pretty much just using this card to summon out Zark. We then play 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is amazing in this deck just to deal with your opponent's field because you can summon out your copy of Zark during your turn with your copies of your cards to basically just pop the Nibiru token. So this card is amazing in the deck just to be able to board wipe your opponent, then summon out Zark and destroy the token, which is just super cool. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's an amazing hand trap overall, just to basically stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is amazing in this deck as a 3-of, just to basically stop your opponent's monster effects. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a definite 1-of in the deck, because this card helps out a lot in this build to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Pendulum Evolution. I absolutely love this card because it basically represents the Pendulum, Synchro, XZ, and your copy of your Fusion Dragon all on the same pendulum, which is so cool about this card. I absolutely love the card artwork of this card, but it's really cool because it lets you shuffle a pendulum monster from your hand into the deck to add a pendulum monster with 2500 attack and a different name from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool ability about this card. Also, during your main phase, if you special summon a pendulum monster from face down from your extract this turn, then you can immediately as effect resolves pendulum summon a monster, which is such a cool ability. You can also target a Zark that you control, and this turn it can attack all monsters that your opponent controls once each, which is such a cool ability. We then play a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial works really well with our copy of Dark Worm, which is why we play this card as a 1-of in the deck. We also play 3 copies of Dragon Shrine because we really want to send our copy of Dark Worm to the graveyard so we can use its ability to bring itself back from the grave and search out a copy of Supreme King card. We then play 3 copies of Wings of Light. Wings of Light is such a cool support card. This card is basically Rhoda for the deck because it says during the main phase add a Supreme King Dragon or a Supreme King Gate pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a copy of Supreme King Zark, then you can special summon it instead, which is a really good ability to be able to use to instantly get the exact one that you need. I absolutely love this card as a 3-of in the build, and it helps out so much. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Soul of the Supreme Celestial King. This card is such a powerful card that you want to search out of the deck all the time, because this card is how you actually summon Zark in the deck now. It lets you treat a spellcaster pendulum monster with 2500 original attack points to fusion summon Supreme King Zark from your extract by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, deck, extract, field, and or graveyard, but negate its effects unless at least one each is a Pendulum Dragon, XZ Dragon, Synchro Dragon, and Fusion Dragon monsters are currently banished, which is a really amazing ability. I absolutely love this card's effect to instantly summon out your copy of Zark by basically fusing its materials from pretty much anywhere except face down banished, which is just such a cool ability about this card. This card is so powerful and is really cool in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This deck has a lot of room for hand traps now, which is amazing because you basically have a complete combo line to instantly get your copy of Zark in the deck now, which is so cool because Zark is now the main focus of the deck that you're trying to summon, and it's so easy to do with the new support cards. So you have so much room for different hand traps that you can play because we basically are playing 12 hand traps in the deck with our copies of Ash, Nibiru, Effect Veiler, and Infinite Impermanence in the deck. You're pretty much going to stop your opponent so you can summon out Zark and go in for game. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of Odd Eyes Arcray Dragon. This card is a new version of Zark and is such a cool card because it has the ability, this card is always treated as Supreme King Zark. And this face down card in your extract must first be either fusion summon or special summon by treating a level 12 Dark Supreme King Zark. basically the original one. And if this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can place one Pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum zone, and if this card in the monster zone is destroyed, place this card in the Pendulum zone, which is such a cool ability about this card because it's really easy to summon to your side of the field. It also has a really cool Pendulum ability that if you have 2 cards in your Pendulum zone, you can special summon this card and then apply the effect that you shuffle 1 card from the Pendulum zone into the deck. Then, if it was added to your deck, to your extra deck, then you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is a really cool ability. We then play a single copy of Supreme King Zark. This card is amazing and super easy to summon in the deck now, and a really awesome card that must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. And if this card is special summoned, destroy all cards that your opponent controls, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is such a cool ability about this card, and it's very easy to put on your side of the field now. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. This card is very easy to summon off your copy of Absolute Dragon, which is why we're playing this card as a 1-of, plus it's a walking negate. We then play a single copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is our Fusion Dragon target that we're playing in the deck to be able to summon out Zark. We then play a single copy of Borreload Savage. Borreload Savage is really easy to make in this build now that we have basically a Lightworm tuner, which is such a cool ability with our copy of Lightworm to make this card, and it's very easy to put this card on the field with your copy of Darkworm and Lightworm, and it's very good to be able to summon out this card because it's a walking negate. We then play a single copy of Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. Clearwing is really good in the deck because when it's summoned, it does destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, which is really a good effect. We then play a single copy of Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Clearwing is amazing in the deck because this card is what we're going to use to summon out Zark. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Rebellion XZ Dragon. This card is great as a 1-of because it does just require 2 level 7 Pendulum monsters to make this card. And if this card is Pendulum Summon, if you can Pendulum Summon 7, you can Pendulum Summon this face-up card from your extra. And this card cannot be used as material for XZ Summon. The turn it was XZ Summon. And it has the ability you can detach a material from this card and then target face-up, 2 face-up monsters your opponent controls with 3,000 or less attack and destroy them, which is a really good ability. I really like this card as a 1-of in the deck. We then play a single copy of Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. This is how we summon out our copy of Vortex Dragon, which is such a cool ability. We then play a single copy of Dark Rebellion XZ Dragon. Dark Rebellion XZ Dragon is how we summon out Zark. We're using this card, our copy of our Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and our copy of Clearwing Synchro Dragon, plus a copy of our Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon in the main deck to be able to summon out our copy of Zark off of our trap card, which is such a cool thing about these cards. We then play a single copy of Magician of Hope. Magician of Hope is really cool because this card is a 2,500 attack point spellcaster monster, so we can use our trap card with this card. So basically, if you can make a rank 4 and you have the trap card, you can summon out your copy of Zark, which is really cool about this card. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is amazing in this deck because it basically is a walking negate, and also it has some amazing downwards arrows to be able to Pendulum Summon to. We then play a single copy of Exceed the Pendulum. Exceed the Pendulum is amazing and is a great card that we got out of Age of Overlord. It gains 100 attack for each Pendulum monster card that you control, and you only use the following effects card once per turn. If this card is Link Summon, you can add 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra back to your hand, so you don't have to summon it to a zone that a Pendulum monster points to, and you can use its effects, which is really amazing. And during the main phase, quick effect, you can special summon a Pendulum monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position with a level between the Pendulum scales of the 2 cards in your Pendulum zone, which is a really cool ability. We then play a single copy of Selene. We do play a lot of spellcasters in the deck, so this card helps us link climb, which is really nice. Also, it has amazing arrows. And then finally, we play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum because this card is a searcher, which is why we play it as a 1-of in the deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this deck. It's really fun now that we can summon out Zark so easily, and it's such a cool card, especially since we got a new version of Zark, the Odd Eyes Arc Ray Dragon, which is such a cool card. I absolutely love all the support, especially the new Supreme King Gate Magician, which just helps so much in this deck, and it's such an amazing card. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.